The Lighthouse Keeper's Symphony. Chapter 1. The Solitary Figure. On the rugged coast of Maine, where the Atlantic Ocean meets jagged cliffs and endless skies, there stood an old lighthouse named the Sentinel of the Sea. Its white tower rose like a beacon of hope, guiding ships through treacherous waters for over a century. For the past 20 years, it had been tended by a man named Elias Grant, a solitary figure with a weathered face and a heart as steady as the tides. Elias, now in his late 60s, had come to the lighthouse after a life of quiet tragedies. His wife, Clara, had passed away from an illness that neither time nor medicine could cure. Their only son, Thomas, had moved across the country, building a life that rarely included visits or phone calls. The lighthouse had become Elias's refuge, a place where he could lose himself in the rhythm of the waves and the glow of the beacon. Every evening, he climbed the spiral staircase to the top of the tower, where he would light the lamp and watch it cast its golden halo over the sea. The ritual was familiar, comforting, but tonight, something was different. As Elias stood at the top of the lighthouse, a letter arrived. It was from his son. The envelope felt heavy in his hands, and his heart beat faster as he opened it. Chapter 2. The Letter. The letter was short, written in Thomas's neat handwriting. Dear Dad, I hope this letter finds you well. I've been thinking a lot about what you said during our last call, about how life is precious, and how we should make the most of the time we have. I've decided to take some time off work and come visit you. I'll be arriving in 2 weeks. I hope that's okay. Love, Thomas. Elias read the letter twice, his hands trembling as he read the words. Chapter 3. The Arrival. 2 weeks later, on a crisp autumn morning, a car pulled up the gravel road that led to the lighthouse. Elias watched from the porch as Thomas stepped out, looking taller and more confident than Elias remembered. They embraced awkwardly, the years of distance palpable between them. "Welcome home," I said, my voice thick with emotion. Thomas smiled. "It's good to be here." The days that followed were a mix of routine and awkward silences. Elias showed Thomas around the lighthouse, explaining the mechanics of the lamp and the history of the place. Thomas listened politely, but Elias could tell his mind was elsewhere. One evening, as they sat on the porch, watching the sunset, Thomas said, "Dad, I've been thinking. Maybe it's time for you to leave this place. You've been here long enough. Don't you want to retire somewhere warmer, closer to civilization?" Elias frowned. "This is my home, Thomas. The lighthouse needs me." "But what about you?" Thomas asked. "Don't you need more than this?" Elias didn't answer. He knew Thomas meant well, but the thought of leaving the lighthouse was unimaginable. It was more than a job. It was a part of him. Chapter 6. The Storm. A few nights later, a fierce storm rolled in from the Atlantic. The winds howled, and the rain lashed against the windows of the lighthouse. Elias and Thomas worked together to secure the building, their tension temporarily forgotten in the face of the storm. As they climbed the stairs to the top of the tower to ensure the lamp was burning brightly, a sudden gust of wind blew open the door. Thomas stumbled, and Elias reached out to grab him, pulling him back to safety. For a moment, they stood there, breathing heavily, the storm raging around them. "You okay?" Elias asked. "Yeah," Thomas replied, his voice shaky. "Thanks, Dad." In that moment, something changed between them. The near accident had broken down the walls of formality and distance. They sat on the floor of the lighthouse, watching the storm through the windows, and talked, really talked, for the first time in years. Chapter 5. The Discovery. The next morning, the storm had passed, leaving behind a calm sea and a clear sky. Elias and Thomas went outside to survey the damage. As they walked along the shore, they noticed something unusual, a small wooden chest that had washed up on the beach during the storm. Elias picked it up and examined it. The chest was old, its wood weathered by the sea, but the lock was still intact. "What do you think is inside?" Thomas asked, curiously. Elias shrugged. "Only one way to find out." They brought the chest back to the lighthouse and, after some effort, managed to pry it open. Inside, they found a collection of old letters, a tarnished compass, and a sheet of music. The letters were addressed to a woman named Eleanor, and they spoke of love, loss, and the sea. Elias read one of the letters aloud, his voice trembling as he spoke the words of a sailor long gone. "My dearest Eleanor, the sea is vast and endless, but my thoughts are always with you. I miss you more than words can say. I hope this letter finds you well and that you are keeping the lighthouse safe. It is my beacon, just as you are. Yours always, William." Thomas looked at his father, tears in his eyes. "This is incredible, Dad. It's like a piece of history." Elias nodded. "Maybe it's a sign, a reminder that we're all connected, even across time and distance." Chapter 6. The Symphony. Inspired by the discovery, Elias and Thomas decided to learn more about the sailor and his wife. They visited the local historical society and learned that Eleanor had been a lighthouse keeper in the 1800s. She had kept the lighthouse running while her husband, William, was at sea. As they pieced together the story, they also found themselves growing closer. Elias taught Thomas how to play the melody from the sheet of music, and they began to compose their own piece, inspired by the sailor's letters and the rhythm of the waves. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Elias and Thomas stood on the porch of the lighthouse and played their symphony, a haunting melody that seemed to blend with the sound of the waves and the cry of the gulls. The music filled the air, a testament to their bond and the legacy of those who had come before them. Chapter 7. The Legacy. When it was time for Thomas to leave, Elias hugged his father tightly. "Thank you, Dad. This visit has meant more to me than I can say." Elias smiled. "You're always welcome here, Thomas. This is your home too." As Thomas drove away, Elias returned to the lighthouse, feeling a sense of peace he hadn't known in years. The discovery of the chest and the time spent with his son had reminded him of the importance of connection and the power of love. That night, as he lit the lamp and watched it cast its golden glow over the sea, Elias felt a deep sense of gratitude. The lighthouse was more than a beacon for ships. It was a beacon for the soul, a reminder that no matter how stormy the seas, there was always light to guide the way. The end.